Hello?
Hey, Akira.
And
This is
anybody
exciting.
else?
I can hear you even when muted.
Nice. Seems to
He
be.
restarted it. Yay.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
That was
And
pretty cool.
that's yeah, it is cool. So I think we could proceed suit interim. Um, Jackie, are you okay?
Yep, mine's working now. Mine before every
Yes.
time I would try and unmute, it would then mute me automatically again. So I can hear now, so we're good.
Thank you. Yes, yes, yes. So let's start. Thank you for joining the suit interim September 9th, and some days, some places 9th and 10 or 8th or 9th. Keep forgetting the time zone.
9 through 10.
9 and 10. Okay. Yes. So first we start from Notewell. Um, yes. Yes, this is, please read carefully about the Notewell. We just want to be a productive having a meeting and note really well. And sorry for today, had a little bit of problem at the Meet Echo and we had to start a little late. And is the slide showing correctly? On my screen, I have a small screen today, so
Yes, your slides are good.
okay. And today's agenda, planning until 45 more minutes if we have to spend all the 1 hour time slot. So the agenda is the first one is a suit report. Yesterday, Brendan uploaded the new dash 15. And also on the from the harness, we have a discussion on the firmware encryption. And the other draft is the suit update management dash 09 is AD evaluation stage. And other draft is RFC and editor queue. Any agenda bashing? Okay, if not, then yes. Yes, then Brendan.
Yes. So what I don't actually have slides, so I'm going to see if a screen share would be an option instead. And I thought I'd just take us through what the changes were in the most recent version. Can you see my screen okay?
Oh, I'm sorry, but I do need a volunteer on the note takers.
Oh.
Sorry for the interruption.
I can take notes.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, okay. Not sure what that means.
Go ahead.
So can you approve my my screen share, please?
So I tried. There you go.
There we go. Window and there we go. All right. Can you see my screen okay?
Yes, yes, perfectly.
Perfect. Okay, perfect. All right, so there are only a few changes, and the changes are down to two specific things. The first is some feedback around the exact terminology used when we discuss attestation, and what the major change here is to reference the terminology that's used in the RATS architecture, and also to provide a little bit more detail about exactly how we are using the attestation evidence and what attestation looks like when it comes using a suit report. So there's a little bit of language here about it, so mostly just a little bit more description about what the process is to be able to get that data, and then to wrap it up into something like an EAT token or an EAT token specifically. Then the other angle we'll get to in a moment. Here again, we have some more discussion of exactly what does a verifier do once it has a suit report in an EAT token. And that was something that was missing before out of suit report. We discussed that it was possible, but we didn't actually say how you would do it. Now, there are no musts in here, right? This is not a explicit, this is not standards action. This is just explanatory text saying if you were going to implement a verifier that consumes a suit report, these are some of the things that you would need to consider. And we even break down a couple of things, well, 3 items that are possibilities for identifying an attester that's not trustworthy using the suit report sort of as a litmus test of the trustworthiness of the attester. Now, these are pretty obvious things, and any attacker worth their salt won't fall afoul of them, but nevertheless, it's still something that needs checking. And then finally, we've got another part of this, not finally. This text has actually been moved from a previous section. And so it, again, just explains that the EAT claim may need some translation, and there's a reconstruction process that needs to occur. And this one gets a little bit more normative. The verifier should convert a suit report into a more consumable version of the EAT claim. But again, it's still not, this is not mandatory. It is a recommendation. And then finally, the last bit in here is handling feedback from the co-op content type registration and the media type registration. So these are a few more changes that were requested by those forums. And one inconsistency that Francesca highlighted. And that's about it for the total of the suit report. There's not much more there. That is about all that we had on changes this time around.
Yes.
So, had you requested a media type registration previously?
Yes, we have requested a media type registration.
Did I? I'm going to take a peek and see if I've got the mail archive link for that, because it has to go into the ballot before I put this on the ISG ballot.
Okay.
So let me look and see if I already have it, because it's been a minute now, right?
fair
Those
enough.
changes that you talked about are a result of Russ's comments and
Yes.
the GenArt comments?
Yes, these are all in response to those comments. So it's the classic thing of a small change is requested. The authors have a discussion with each other and discover that actually a small change isn't adequate to address the comments.
That's fine. That's fine. Are you going to reply to both Russ and the GenArt reviewer? I don't know how to say his
Yes, I
name,
had
or I would.
meant to do that today, but didn't quite get there.
Okay. Okay, so while you're talking about other things, I'll go back and look and see if I have that media type registration link, because it does
Okay.
have to go into the ballot.
Brendan, was the media type registration, was it on the suit report, or I saw once you sent submitting on the mailing list? Was it?
I'm sure that it was suit report. I'm fairly confident that that's what it was. Now I'm doubting myself. I'm going to have to go and look and make sure. But I was sure that it was suit report. I will just have to stop my screen share here and go and see if I can track that down.
So I do have it in the ballot already. It's
Oh, brilliant. So I definitely did it
I
then.
can.
Yes,
You
yes,
did.
I-
You did.
uh,
Hold on a
yes.
minute. Because I can just here about that.
Perfect.
And I don't know whether we've had any responses to that.
I think there were some. I think I addressed them, but now, of course, I'm doubting myself on that.
I see a reply from Hansen. The reply is, this registration looks reasonable to me. In IANA consideration, the registration policy has 257 instead of minus 257. So there was one comment.
But look at what Murray said. Murray also replied. That's the next reply.
So he's asking about the subtype name suit report COSE, and required parameter is non-applicable. So where the optional parameter goes is the Murray's comment.
I think that means there's a field called optional parameters, which is no longer in there.
Quite likely. I'll have to track down what's going on here. Okay.
Yeah, so go back and look and see if you reply to
Yeah.
Murray's message. The reason it has to go in the ballot is this tends to be a long poll.
Yep.
And we want it to be done by the time it's ready for publication.
Okay.
So if we need to chase it, we can get Ori to do that for us. But you need to go back and reply to Murray first.
Okay, will do. I think that's it from me.
So wrapping up is the Brendan going to reply for the two review from Ross, so the reviews, one from Ross and one from Bechat, and another one is replying with on the list to Murray on the media type.
Yes, I will make sure that those replies get sent.
Okay. So the next agenda is the firmware encryption. Hannes?
Yeah,
Yes.
I can briefly summarize what I posted on the list, on the suit list, and then a little later on the COSE list. So the issue is the following. So when we worked on the firmware update, on the firmware encryption document, we selected the ephemeral static Diffie-Hellman mechanism as a key exchange or key distribution mechanism for the key or establishment for the content encryption key, which is then used to encrypt the firmware. And that document was then published, but at that time there was a draft published in the LAMPS working group, which pointed out that there is a potential weakness when you have a container format. The LAMPS discussion, of course, was not on COSE, but was on the CMS. And the problem is that you can perform a downgrade attack from an like GCM and AAD cipher down to CBC. And obviously that only works if your implementation supports both mechanisms and doesn't check carefully what type of algorithm is supposed to be used with a specific setup. So there are some preconditions, but it seems that that LAMPS attack is also applicable to COSI, and that's what we talked about when Russ, Ken, and I put a document together, which basically takes the mitigation developed in LAMPS and applies it to COSI. It essentially changes the way how the keys are derived. That's the solution. But there are obviously other solutions possible, but we documented one. And with the hope that there would be a generic solution developed in the COSI group. But that didn't happen. And so time moved on, and so now facing the situation that we are getting closer to the completion of the work. The firmware encryption document is further along the pipeline. So there's, in some sense, there is no, like, the dependency is like the suit manifest depends on a few other documents, and then the firmware encryption document, I don't think, or the firmware encryption document depends on the suit manifest rather than the other way around. And so, but I think it would still be good if there is a description or some solution, some mitigation for that apparently known weakness, and that we should document it somewhere. So I posted the mail to the also to the COSI list, and just today Lawrence suggested another solution. So I'm not quite sure how we should best handle this timing-wise, whether it would be better to add, for example, a paragraph or so into the firmware encryption document and thereby providing a solution that is very specific to that document, or whether it would be better to have something that is published in COSI, which is a little bit more generic. But then, given the feedback or the lack of feedback, I wonder how many people actually have that specific setup. Many implementers use primarily the signing capabilities and not the encryption capabilities. So that's one thing. And then you need to use this type of key distribution mechanism. And you also need to have sort of the condition with the AAD and non-AAD ciphers, and so on and so on. So yeah, so advice would be appreciated. That was a pretty long story.
Are we going to need to wait anything on the COSI, or just?
Right. That's the first question. Should there be should we, for example, the authors, work on a solution in COSI, or should we rather deal with this in suit? And whatever group we pick, what exactly should that story be? Because there are a couple of different ways to deal with this issue. I think I would like to avoid the case that we do nothing and just let the reader figure it out. I worry that is potentially risky. But yeah. Deb, are you in the queue?
I am in the queue. I am. So I do think you need to fix this in COSI at the very least, because it is a COSI thing, right? So I think, and I reached out to Paul, who's reached out to COSI chairs. And so hopefully we can get this sort of moving in the right direction in the COSI working group.
Okay.
At the very least, the question is, how does a reader of the firmware encryption specification know about the fix in COSE?
Yeah, I think there are several ways. The most obvious one is there is some text that points to that document, and unfortunately, like if it's a normative reference, then obviously that's going to cause some problems. That's one possibility. Another one is errata. Yeah.
Yeah, so we have an opportunity because it is sitting in MISREF and it is waiting on the manifest draft, which is also waiting on reports and updates.
Yeah. So that's the time window.
I still have update in my queue because I'm not moving update along until report is at least in like moving along. So there is a little bit of time from a suit point of view. There's a little bit of time in terms of things sitting in MISREF.
Yeah.
I would rather see it a pointer to that specification before firmware encryption is published, because I think it's a more lasting record of the issue.
Yeah.
I mean, erratas are not what anybody relies on. So if we can get the COSE draft moving along, you can reference an issue. I'm trying to think if there's a way to do it as an informative reference instead of a normative one, because then you're not relying on how fast COSE moves the draft.
Yeah. I could propose some wording, and maybe that's so the wording would be roughly saying the following. It would say
so we've recently done this. We've recently done this with Scott Florer individual draft. That's like it's not a CFRG draft. It's actually a Scott Florer draft where he has listed a bunch of things to look out for on a certain technology, and we had to make that informative because it's an individual draft. It hasn't even been adopted by CFRG, and who knows how long it would take, even if it was.
What's the name of the draft? I don't
remember. It's in the MLChem. It's all in all the MLChem X.509 and CMS drafts out of LAMPS.
Okay.
It's a Scott Florer CFRG. Blah blah blah. Hold on.
Yeah. Yeah, on the content of the solution, Lawrence pointed out one thing on the mailing list today, which was that when we wrote the initial document, the one with Russ and Ken, we basically copied more or less the solution from LAMPS. But in the meanwhile, for the work on HBKE, we obviously had to deal with the same issue, and we came up with a different solution, which the group seems to quite like. And so that would be another possibility to generalize that solution to other algorithms in COSE. So that would be a possibility to address this issue as well. If that's easier to find an agreement on, that would obviously be a better way forward.
Right. I put the security consideration sentence from the MLChem CMS draft into the chat.
Okay.
Because that Scott Florer draft is an individual draft, sort of attached to the CFRG. It's not anything that's going to be done anytime soon, if ever. And so that's the way we worded it, so that ID is listed as an informational reference in that particular draft. So I don't know if there's a way to use that to do the COSE piece. And then we can document it in COSE, which is where it should be documented, and then maybe just make a small change to the firmware encryption draft before it gets out of misref, to add that to it. And you can do it, if we do it like that, we can do it early before the draft is adopted or whatever, because it's an informational draft.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds reasonable to me.
So the conclusion is that if we add a reference, that could be informative.
Yeah, the reason, so that
Yeah.
if you add it as an informational, as opposed to a normative reference, then you don't have to wait for COSE to publish it.
I see.
And in fact, he could just, you could take the draft that he originally has, which is expired, mention it as an informational reference to the firmware encryption draft, and that's like, you could do that today because that ID doesn't have to be either current or adopted or anything else, because it's an informational reference. If it's a normative reference, it's a whole different ballgame. But informational references can be almost anything, as long as they're stable, and an ID is stable. So
makes sense to me. Yeah, thanks.
But we want it to be the right draft, right? So we want it to be the right thing. So if somebody else has come up with another way to do this, then you got to make sure we're referencing the correct ID.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, but that's a good idea. I wasn't aware of that circumstance.
Yeah, well, it was not happy, shall we say?
Yeah, it's a bug fix rather than.
It's a workaround, I will say.
Yeah, that's a better wording. Yeah. Yeah, thanks.
So can you, if you have trouble with COSE still, can you send me a note?
Definitely, yeah. I will reach out to the COSE chairs and we'll have a chat with them.
Or Paul, either, right? Because
Yep.
Paul's COSE's responsible AD.
Yep.
Hannes, after the meeting, do you mind updating the notes on this firmware encryption portion? I just was able to add the conclusion, but yeah, before that I wasn't able to write it down.
Yes, I will do that. Yeah, I couldn't type at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. And the next suit update management. Brendan, do we need to bring this up?
I will respectfully defer to Deb on that question.
You can bring it up if you want to, but I'm not touching it until after you get report into the IESGQ for a telechat, which means I just need to look at what you've done, make sure it's okay, and then submit the ballot. So the good news is there's 2 back-to-back telechats, one on the 18th and one on the 25th of September. So if I issued the ballot today, it would go on the 25th of September. But then I just need a promise that you're going to address the ballot comments promptly as I do the update draft. It's a hostage holding situation, shall we say.
But it's, I think there's also on the update management, there's the suit manifest has also normative dependency on that document. Is that correct?
It is. As soon as all of them hit the queue, update, report, everything, as soon as it all hits the queue, it'll all fall out at once, because all that work that has been done so far is sitting in misref.
Okay. Yeah. And then also the deep documents are all sort of stalled on those documents. So
is TEEP stalled on suit, or is it the
on suit? Yeah.
TEEP is waiting for the suit.
Which suit draft is it? Is it waiting for manifest?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, so.
and few others. Yeah,
Well, on the same documents, like.
yes, yes, yes.
What should I capture in the meeting minutes? What should I say?
In which one?
The update management.
Oh, update management. Not just waiting for the suit report.
The update management is waiting for the suit report.
No,
No, it can't be true, right?
You,
No.
you
No,
could just
so
say
you want him,
that it's
you want him
still
to
sitting
update the
at
codes,
80.
right? Do you want Hannes to update? Oh, okay. There's not much to say there. It's the 80's got it.
Yeah, just say it's still sitting for 80 evaluation.
Got it.
Okay. Is that about it? Yes. Anything to add from the participant today?
So I don't see the TEEP draft in the misref queue with the rest of the suit drafts. Is it not out of the working group yet?
I think the chairs didn't push it forward because they knew that the suit documents haven't been finished. But I think since we are already now further along, I think steps need to be taken to advance them, to get them out of the group, because then I think it's safe to move them forward.
The TEEP drafts.
Yes.
Wait, so TEEP protocol is in PubRec.
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
The other TEEP draft is waiting on the protocol draft. Okay, fine.
I had as a more implementation specific side note, there was the Riot Summit last week, and the Riot Summit is a gathering of embedded OS developers, specifically around the Riot OS. And there was also discussion about the firmware update mechanism, and their plan is to work on an update of the implementation. So there would be, and so there's the implementation, but would be implementing the latest version of the draft, potentially in Rust. And then there are also commercial implementations of the suit manifest parser. And so, yeah, of course, having more implementation would even be better than those. But if someone knows about some implementations, it would be good to do some interop testing just to get sort of the advanced usability of some of the libraries and so on.
That's really nice. That will be great. Is there any other implementation information from Brendan? Or
Unfortunately, I have no updates about that at this point.
oh, okay.
Yeah, Ken also Ken is not on the call as you know.
Yes.
But, he has been working on different implementation aspects, and there is the Nordic implementation. Arvind, who is a co-author on the suit manifest, has an implementation for the Nordic for one of the Nordic boards, which I have used myself. Really good implementation. I heard about company proprietary or company internal implementations. I don't know if that the companies want to be mentioned because it's just there. Obviously, they don't need to publish the code or like talk about it in the open, but yeah, it's pretty good.
Yes. Okay. And also this time the update on the suit report is make it much clearer on how to have and eat with the suit report. So that will help in the further implementation. Okay. Is there any nothing else today? Then we could close the suit interim.
Yeah, thanks to you and Jacqueline for scheduling the call. It always helps to sort of get us to look at the details and the open issues. And thanks for Brendan for doing the work on the suit
Yes.
report. That looks like a really good update.
Yes.
And thanks to Hannes for just following up continuously on the firmware encryption draft. This has been a real slog and you keep going at it. So thank you for that.
Yeah, it looked really simple when we started, right?
Oh, incredibly. Honestly, I think that the main thing that we got wrong was using Cozy. Not that that's necessarily wrong, but in retrospect, holy smokes, that added a lot.
Yeah, that was something in 2018 hackathon in Berlin. Yeah, it's okay. Okay, then thank you very much. Then see you in the next IETF.
See
Thanks,
you in
everyone.
Montreal.
Montreal, yes. Nice place.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.